Hi everybody, my name is Sebastian. I'm doing this the first time, as Keith always tells. Yeah, it's okay to be nervous, but well, we will see. I proposed a 10 talk theme, so too many of you guys did click the wrong button. So I have to do this 10 plus talk somehow. But you will join me and help me make it more a conversation then. I'm pretty sure we will make it time. A little bit about me, maybe some people do know, but well, keep that short. My personal Wi-Fi path, everything else, I guess, is not that interesting. Some CCNA hands-on lab like 2001, so it's 17 years ago, wow. But studied, so all theoretically stuff. Got some mesh networking, BLE was not there yet, but Bluetooth stuff was there. And was able to do my diploma thesis on a specific security wireless in mesh, multi-hop mesh networking, security enhancements. So that was fun. And from there on, I was able to move to Switzerland to join my then girlfriend and 11 years now wife in Switzerland to join their Motorola symbol reseller, value-added reseller if you want to. So there I had the first hands on the real equipment that had to be deployed, like enterprise wireless switch 2000, if somebody remembers, AP300s, I guess. So yeah, from there on, I stumbled my way to get that work and make people happy having Wi-Fi. And it took me almost another 10 years to discover the CWMP program. But yeah, now I know the simple Motorola guys were into that, but as of far, nobody told me. So yeah, anyway, latest discoveries for me, and that's the order I did it. So sorry, but yeah, I'll try to not promote it anymore. And yeah, from there on, I made my way to get a very interesting experience on something else, Maru stuff, Fortinet. So yeah, going to look into these options a little later. What I called this talk is, do clients make meaningful decisions when joining Wi-Fi? And because just a few of us here are able to have access to how they do that, so how the clients really make their decisions. All the rest of us has to cope with what we can do on the infrastructure side, right? So that's all we can influence if we are not on the client vendor side, or at least having some access to their drivers and settings and maybe device management stuff that could change some pieces in that algorithms, or at least some variables. So yeah, we try to convince the client to make a smart decision, let's say that. So we have some features mostly on the infrastructure side. And yeah, I just put up a little table for a more or less open discussion. So I would go in and do the software side first. So if we have a deployment, it could be on the channel management side. We heard a lot of dynamic stuff, RRM. Is it useful? No. Yes. Maybe. Maybe not. But we could also just switch it to like what I say. Use an ESS on dual band, so 5 gig and 2.4, or just stick with one of those. So not sure if everybody always thinks of that as an option to deploy a single band ESS, BSSID, just to make the client decision less complex. Maybe it helps. And yeah, I put in the single channel stuff because, yeah, sorry. But that has to be static to make it work. Even there are some features to make a dynamic reduction too. So it always depends on the client capability for sure. So if we don't have 5 gig clients, we have to use 2.4 for sure. Everybody knows. But yeah, it could be like a PHY cost layer we could enable on top. So that might work somehow to make the client easier to connect to the SSID we want to ESS. It also would, for sure, reduce beaconing and so on, but yeah, would that give us the same durability? Is that as stable as we have it at a dual band deployment, or do we have the same load balance, or do we have the same capabilities? What could we do? Or yeah, maybe even change that and split those. We could even try to deploy not only the dual band and make it like a PHY on 2 layers, we could make it like do multiple stuff. So use the DFS if you really have crowded environments where hundreds of clients are there. So maybe this multiple single channel feature that some people might deploy in layers or whatever they call them, blankets, pick a name, give you more throughput. It might work. So you can use more spectrum simultaneously. And therefore, your clients might have a decision to pick like 2 different APs because they only see these 2 BSSIDs, and that's it. And not 8, but there are like 16 physical AP radios. So that makes it easier for the client, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, needs to be proven, I guess. Come to that. Also, if you only have the management frames for the beaconing on 2 radios instead of 16, for example, yeah, that should be fine with the clients. Not sure about the tables, the size of the really small voice clients seem to be a limit memory-wise, but yeah. We should at least think of that as an option. And yeah, when you have this DFS stuff, there are the events, we know. It's very nice to have tools to simulate that, so I really love that talk from WLPC to go into more details on that. But yeah, plan for or get your vendor support a fallback channel so that it's not offline the radio, but that switches back to a fixed non-DFS channel and as soon as possible back. So that would be one way to make it more durable, more stability in it, and for sure, again, yeah, like we always know, client support needs to be there, and we have to fulfill the capacity planning and so on. And yeah, another way that could be gone is the price, right? If we need to put in like 3 layers of coverage and have like 3 times the APs, okay, that's a little burden to get over, but yeah, if we then could provide the capacity stable, maybe the customer will accept a little more spending on a good solution. What else could we do? On the management plane, for example, we could stick with our standalone APs, that should be a comma there, or the virtual controller, maybe, on the AP, so that is cheaper, more durable, maybe not, depends. Yeah, where is the controller located? Is the connectivity given? What is the fallback if the AP is losing that connection? And yeah, is it really less complex? I would say for the installation part, for sure, you just have to hang up your APs, right? But scalability, redundancy, yeah, and again, maybe TCO is one of these things, but when you have a happy customer, yeah, TCO is given, right? So he should agree with that. Make him underwrite something like that first. Yeah. On the hardware side, you could even go with the Xyrus arrays to make really lots of spectrum use. I'm not sure, Ferne is not here. I'm not sure if his deployments are still in use somewhere, but maybe triple radio APs are still alive. I heard of some deployments, but mainly for monitoring, right? So it's not adding anything for throughput. Anybody got a triple radio AP working, up and running? No one? What a pity. You have used one, okay. So stick with the dual one. And single ones would be nice for TCO if we really convince the customer we need to put more 5 gig only APs, but yeah, maybe it's the other way around and we need to support more 2.4 to have dual 2.4s. I'm not sure if every vendor does support it at all, but I'm pretty sure the radio modules maybe not 5 gig only. Depends. But it would be an option too. Think of the dual use of a radio. So not sure if everybody thought of that. If you have like voice clients only, but you need 100% coverage and all the time it needs to be up and I have 2 APs and yeah, it's hundreds of voice clients, so how to cope with the load? Maybe make like separate layers on those 2, 3 frequencies. Maybe even 4 in Europe, sorry. On 2.4 and use both radios as 2.4 to make it really durable. Might be, again, put up once a device, have multiple uses of the spectrum on the same band. For sure, client capabilities again. You need those, but you have then more flexibility. So the standard dual 5 gig, is it really working? I'm not sure. Anybody from the Cisco side? Nobody, okay. But yeah, it could. So that gives you probably more throughput and will enhance for sure the complexity of planning and for sure the TCO, right? Because those are not the cheap 2x2 radio APs, but they could if they wanted to. So one last point on the central management side, as we have heard by Jake, there are some controller, let's say, logs you could use. And depending on how it's implemented, some features do impact these. So not everything is seen that could be seen because, like we heard, the threshold are enabled on the AP and are not like a central controller or cloud controller based solution that will try to do that afterwards. So if you have a physical controller and you have it layer 2 connected, maybe you have more capabilities to use a really optimized wireless environment to make decisions like, do I need to lower my sensitivity threshold for answering any client beaconing, any client requesting access to the Wi-Fi? Should I answer from all the APs? Should I not? Again, another TCO problem because it's more expensive. But in the end, if you have happy customers that love to use your solution, that should be fine. Paying a little more upfront. So, who would like to add something to this list? Anyone? Feel free, please. Nobody?
User configurable.
Yep. User configurable. So the client should be able to configure. So we would need to have a feedback loop from the client to the system. So like Cisco, Apple, trying to do something.
List, the higher on the list, you prefer this network over another, it could be more, a lot more.
It could be a lot more, yeah.
Could be the Wi-Fi Alliance actually tests.
Wait.
Maybe. Maybe.
Oh, no.
So keys were
We just certify it works.
exactly. We need Wi-Fi that works, and because the client decides how to make it work, we should look for the client, always. And not forget it. So that's more or less my conclusion, like it's always. Make yourself planning for the clients. And maybe it's an option to decrease the options for the clients to make it work better. So as we heard once more from Andrew, sometimes it's just too much on information they have to cope with. I mean, these devices here, not sure about Keith's NDA when it might expire at all, but they have tons of code deciding which AP to pick, which channel to roam to or not. So these MacBooks. But if you split the use cases, for example, if you have a user group, so that might be an option to put your VoIP phones only on 2.4 because they love the stickiness. And you don't need the Bluetooth. Might be an option. It's not.
Flip it, put everything else on 2.4 and us on 5.
So you have bad user experience on the other side. So who is happy then? Make it 2 layers of 5 gig, right? That might be an option. Make it an 80 megahertz channel for those guys that need the Skype calls. And make it 20 for the voice. Maybe an option. So what do you think? Anything else?
The client vendor
Yep.
specializes typically. So your access point is a jack of all trades. Voice client knows what a voice client needs. Rugged client. So the client vendors specialize in what they do. And that's particularly visible, obviously, in the voice industry. But it's good that clients get to make decisions because voice vendors spend their time analyzing voice devices to see what it needs to do. Whereas the vendors that make network equipment that don't do any voice, obviously Cisco have their own phones, so they also have an insight into it. But you know, when you're not doing any voice, how do you know what voice wants? Or if you're not doing just industrial devices, how do you know what they want? So yes, coerce clients using your network parameters, but ultimately clients need to decide how to roam because the vendors that make those devices know what their users need more than people who make infrastructure.
Okay, but as you said, all these smartphones are voice clients too, right? So probably they are getting there on the Q8 teams, hopefully, to test these. Jake is convinced they won't, but yeah, maybe someday on some other vendor, or we will see. So anyway, for sure, the answer is, of course, what else should it be? So if nobody else has any questions, anyone? 1, 2? You don't have one? Thanks, guys.